Just to be on the safe side after what happened at the Oscars, I've cut all the jokes about Ian's wife.
Well, there's Vladimir Putin, a man who trusts all his advisors.
Ah, no fry zone.
There's nowhere to go after that.
OK, who was involved in the negotiations then?
Roman Abramovich, the former-ish owner of Chelsea.
Well, it is quite confusing because, I mean, about 2 weeks ago, he was someone who'd never met Putin, didn't like him, had no contact with him. Yesterday, he's the chief negotiator, is he? It does suggest that he might have been a bit of an oligarch all along, as opposed to a gracious benefactor of the noble game.
I knew this was going to happen. I knew, every time I come on the show, all Ian wants to talk about is football, football, football.
But that's Lavrov in his foreign minister.
Yeah.
His foreign minister. And he's about, I don't know, 600 yards away from him.
But actually, what you can't see is the table opens up in the middle and turns into a shark pool.
Good news is that the world is still intact.
Sure.
We're all still here.
Well, you don't know, there's the repeat. To
Yeah,
And if the globe is wiped out via a nuclear holocaust, won't you look silly?
Which of Boris's acquaintances have embarrassed him recently?
Evgeny Lebedev.
That's right.
Who was given a peerage very soon after Boris Johnson took over, and now the House of Lords committee said maybe he shouldn't have done. The security services were worried about him.
Yeah.
I mean, he just supported Boris. He owned newspapers and supported him in the mayoral election, which looks like corruption. Isn't, obviously.
The thing I like about Lebedev is he sounds like a conversation between Bill and Ben, the flower pot.
He originally wanted his title to be Lord Lebedev of Moscow.
I'd have gone for Lord Lebedev of Levered. I mean, if you're going to start with a silly name, see it all the way through.
How has the leader of the opposition responded to all this about Lebedev?
Lebedev.
Well, Lebedev is well known for his lavish parties, to which he has invited the great and the good.
I believe there is a rumour that once the glamour model Jordan, properly known as Katie Price, attended one, sat next to Boris Johnson and did what is her career-defining trick of getting her breasts out.
Get your tits out for the Vlads.
I'm not surprised you should say that, because Katie Price has form when it comes to embarrassing respected members of the establishment.
The amazing thing about that photograph is how it's made Ian's tie horizontal, what she's doing.
Is it just me, or given how grim all the news has been in that first section, are you starting to feel like the five of us are like the support act that went on just before the band on the Titanic? Like relentlessly grim.
No, I was just thinking there should be a musical, like Mary Poppins singing Lord Lebedev, Lord Lebedev, Lebedev.
Have you been affected badly by the lockdown? Good. Yes. Is a happy man filling up his petrol with his car with petrol.
He's been heckled. Oh my God!
Human game of chess.
I'm never going to be able to unsee that. Can we see that again?
No,
because that is
No.
seriously.
I've started and I have finished.
That is not dancing, is it? That's like something you'd see on a David Attenborough programme.
After delivering his spring statement, Rishi Sunak was pictured filling up a car with petrol. The press instantly twigged that it wasn't Sunak's car, as the driver's side had no booster seat. Ian.
There was a story in the paper about people don't like Shakespeare when it's delivered in a Yorkshire accent.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what the pies and the dog are doing.
It's a Yorkshire Terrier.
Yeah.
I think that's a
Yorkshire pudding,
Yorkshire
isn't it?
pudding. I think it's a collection of stereotypes
Yes.
put into a picture.
They were worried we wouldn't realise
we
there was
wouldn't
a
know what
Yorkshire
Yorkshire meant.
connection. Yeah.
Yorkshire tea, that's a clue
Yes.
there, isn't there?
Maybe they thought we wouldn't notice
Yorkshire Terrier, flat cap, got to be Yorkshire.
They wanted a refund for their tickets to the show due to take place in Blackpool.
Yeah.
Because of the events in Russia and Ukraine, making it unsafe to travel.
Well,
What route were they taking?
The long way round.
Yeah. We can save 50 quid if we go via St. Petersburg. I would say that Bernard Levin's probably the odd one out because he was the one that was hit and all the others hit somebody else.
Absolutely right.
yeah, that's good.
Let's have a look.
Would you stand up a second? Mr. Levin, your review of savagery and the light was not a review.
Please,
it was a vicious attack.
Yes, it may well
on
have
an
been, but would you mind going back?
There's just one tiny thing to be done.
But it just shows you the British, even in physical violence, they're very polite.
Yes.
Could you
Mind standing up for a moment?
Offer your
the
chin,
ground.
please.
But also, I love just one tiny thing.
Yes.
Like this.
Before we go, there's just time for the caption competition.
Why do you keep coming?
It's the Queen saying, I gather you haven't got very long. Cat being questioned by the policeman, have you been to any parties? No. So this is the government, and I think the main issue is Partygate, which just won't go away. And people keep bringing it up to embarrass the government time after time. Why they do it, you know, I mean, let's move on. Actually, let's not, let's go back.
And they're still asking people, do you remember being at the party? And they're like, oh, I can't remember if I was at the party. Why can't you remember where you were at a year ago? I mean, there were so many parties happening at number 10. It must have been like Woodstock. You know what I mean? Like, if you can remember working for Boris Johnson during the pandemic, you really weren't there.
Who, do you know, has been leaping to the Prime Minister's defence again this week?
Oh, it must be Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Do you know what he said?
God knows, who cares?
Who is this?
Are you doing an impression?
We say goodbye this week to one of the nation's most beloved actors, June Brown, who played Dr. Cotton in EastEnders. The obituary said this. June Brown, the actress best known for playing Dot Cotton, the world-weary, Bible-reading, chain-smoking laundrette manager in EastEnders, has died, aged 95. As a child, there was nothing Brown liked better than putting a rabbit in a biscuit tin, gassing it to death and then cutting it up.
And this was before you had social media, isn't it?
This came from an interview where June Brown had once asked what she'd enjoyed at school, and she'd enjoyed biology and dissection, and it was taken slightly out of context. And Matt Hancock.
Only one of them needs a T-shirt to remind himself who he is.
Yes. And that's why people keep walking all over him. We don't know why. If this is thing... I'm sorry if you feel you're not getting your money's worth.
They have all caused a fashion sensation, apart from Matt Hancock, who was deemed to be sensationally unfashionable. Here's Matt Hancock's outfit that got him into trouble. Do you want to see him squirming about in the turtleneck?
Yeah.
Here he is.
You just start this section again. How would you like to start it? I don't mind all of it except the opening bit about casual sex. Okay, fine. I haven't had casual sex with anybody. Okay. I fell in love with somebody.
Myself.
The thing about it is, it makes it so much worse for his poor wife. You know, it's bad enough that he just dumped a minute and left, and there were pictures of him just groping and fiddling in his office.
That was another impression, did you see that?
I don't think it's the turtleneck that's the problem. When John Hetherington wore London's first ever top hat, several women fainted. A female reaction not repeated in this country until that time Ian Hislop undid his top button at the Cheltenham Literary Festival.
Yeah, so they've been fined this week, haven't they? Rishi Sunak was there as well, and his wife and Boris's wife as well was there. So, yes, they've been fined for attending a party, which they didn't know was a party. And Boris, to be fair, didn't know he was Prime Minister. or indeed it was a pandemic, or he was in 10 Downing Street.
Yes, this is the news that Boris Johnson is not technically a criminal, but has successfully become the first sitting Prime Minister to have broken the law.
And he thinks everyone has forgotten about it and that they don't care anymore. Maybe by the time we go out, the party will have come to its senses and he will have resigned.
I mean, don't you think you guys are being a bit unfair? He's the ruler of a country. He should be allowed to flex a little bit. I mean, other rulers are having people dismembered and we're angry because our guy shook a leg. Like, come on.
I suppose the fact that it was quite clearly a party and he lied about it, but I'd... No, I'd let him live. I would let him live. I'm not... I'm not advocating the death penalty. I think we don't have to go that far, but... and everyone's going, oh, God, woke BBC lefties, can't you get over it? And I'm thinking, yeah, woke BBC lefty Lord Wolfson, the Tory Justice Minister who's just resigned. Why hasn't Boris? Why hasn't Rishi? Why hasn't Carrie? Are you allowed to resign as his wife? And why hasn't the entire Tory party resigned, all of them? They supported him, why don't they leave now? They're the party of law and order. I mean, Matt Hancock, who was having a party for 2 people in a cupboard... he had to resign.
And that was bring your own, wasn't it?
Let's go over to Sean now for the latest.
Sober David, the Liberal Democrat MP. Excuse me, I'm about to sleep. I think I've got away with it.
I mean, Ukraine asked us to send troops. We did one better. We sent them one man that's proven he can ruin an entire country by himself. We're not scared of the Winter Soldier. We sent them the Autumn Bumbler. It's amazing.
Should we remind ourselves of the time Ed Balls volunteered to be tasered on TV?
Yes.
It's given me a brilliant idea for an alternative to a fixed penalty fine.
Very good, yeah. Let's go over to Montana.
OK.
Well, this is the news that, as we go to air, Boris Johnson hasn't resigned. But we have got another inquiry.
Yes.
Into whether he misled Parliament.
Yes.
So we've had 3 inquiries now trying to get rid of him.
Yeah.
3rd time lucky.
He was discussing the birthday gathering for which Johnson received the fine, and Fabricant told BBC Radio 5 Live, the way it's been characterised, you would think they were pole dancers. Of course not. That was when he was mayor. I bet they're really grim, those parties. I bet they're not even that good fun.
You get invited to a party in 10 Downing Street, you say no?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. You got invited? Wow.
I said no, gang.
This wasn't last year, please.
No. No, I got...
You're not still doing the pole dancing, are you?
To mark Boris Johnson's 1,000 days in office, let's have a quiz.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
It's about time I did a quiz.
Here's... Richard, you're going to miss quizzing, aren't you?
Yeah.
A bit? Yeah. Never mind. How did it feel?
Well, you tell me.
Yes.
You resigned.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
Yeah, felt quite cool.
But it feels cool for about a day and a half, doesn't it?
And then worrying. And then worrying. 7 years on, mate, then it really starts to bite and dig in. So, all the best. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. I've got loads of work and employment. No, it's all good. It's all good.
Absolutely lovely to have you here this evening, by the way.
Thanks for stepping in.
Let's... Oh, Ian, straight in there. Quickly, we're on to the next one, Ian. What is it, Ian? Tough opposition, Boris beats him in the election. Picture number 3, Richard.
What? Sorry, what's this quiz?
You've got to tell me... The seminal moment's gone. It's a rolling quiz.
The Queen's been beheaded.
Castle, Sonia. Well done, Dominic Cummings. It's a rolling quiz, Richard. You've got to be super quick. Here we go. Next one. Who's this? What happened? Sonia.
Interior designer.
Interior designer. Lulu Little. Next one. A dog and Carrie.
Yeah.
Oh, Dylan?
Dylan the dog. Very good, Sonia. It's a good quiz, isn't it, Paul? On we go. And the last one.
Harry Enfield.
Meanwhile, gang.
Yes, you seem to think we're in a gang.
Yes. Tonight, Paul, we are.
We'd be ahead of a gang.
I don't think me and Ian are in the same gang.
Yes, you are.
Are we?
More like a sort of a theatrical gang, in a gang show, all together, just for one night.
It sounds really churlish, Mel, but no.
OK. Shall I not say the word gang?
No, I'm very happy to be part of the gang.
Yay, Richard's in the gang.
I'm going to get cards made up for the gang. Paul, you have one, I'll have one. Mel, you have one. Sonia, you can have one.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah? Let's see who wants to be in the gang then, Ian, shall we? We've all got cards.
Still no.
Yes, a car that drives itself. There we are, in case we hadn't got it the first time round. Driverless car. And back to the driverless car again. Now, this has been aimed for 4-year-olds, this question, isn't it?
Popcorn.
I don't know why the popcorn was in there. I laughed when we did the rehearsal because I didn't want to look dense. I don't know why...
You've had a rehearsal?
Yes. I didn't know why the popcorn was there. Ian, explain.
Well, I thought the story was that driverless cars, you can now watch films. So it's like...
Yes, that's it.
Yes.
Got it. Sorry. But that makes no sense because you're not in the car because it's driverless. But you are kind of in the car, but you're just like that. I don't understand driverless cars.
I think you're in the car.
You are in the car. Are you? Sonia, help me. Are you in the car? Help me, Sonia.
You're definitely in the car.
Sonia!
I'm a bit scared.
Are you in a driverless car?
Well, otherwise, so you just got driverless cars just driving around. I'm not sure that's solving any problem.
See, I think this is Boris Johnson's latest ruse, because the next excuse he's going to come up with is just, I didn't mean to go to the party, the car just drove me there.
Very good. Love the jigsaw.
Yes.
I love the sound effect, the fuck.
What? I beg your pardon?
Was this
one for each of us?
No, check it out, guys. It's a really good sound effect. You're going to love it.
OK.
Buzz when you know what it is.
Right.
Jigsaw of news.
There we are.
See? There we go. Oh, that was a very quick buzz there.
Yeah, I don't know what you're looking over there for.
Oh, sorry. Paul.
I don't know if I want to answer it now.
Please, Paul. I think basically what it is just some bad-tempered old people who can't handle Zoom conversations. Anyone ever had that problem?
Have you got anything, Janet? You're probably a dame, are you?
Yeah, you know I have, Ian. You bloody know I've got one CVE, so fuck off.
Lindsay and her mate Julie were having a bottomless brunch for Julie's birthday. Julie's jacket fell behind a sofa. Now, being a mate, Lindsay tried to lean over and get it for her, but got her head stuck for 10 minutes. And being a mate, Julie videoed the whole thing. Here we go.
I knew the photos of those number 10 parties would come out eventually.
It's the chest that there was the talking point, was it not?
We'll come on to that, yes.
Will we?
Oh, dear, that sounds awful. Oh, dear.
It's newspapers. Obviously got a big story in it. It's this one. And that's the leader of the Labour Party and her deputy.
This is a story sort of bubbled up at the beginning of the week that Angela Rayner had been distracting Boris by crossing and uncrossing her legs like Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct, and was so upset about this that she repeatedly tweeted about it and went on Lorraine and wore a trouser suit in order to make the feminist point that obviously it's very disappointing that her grandula is the subject of everybody's Sorry, yeah. Ian's looking at me and saying, what's this woman talking about? You know what this is about, Ian, come on.
I do, I just hadn't heard that word before.
But then it turned out that she had been making jokes about it.
Yes, on a podcast.
Yes. She actually even sort of used a rude word for it, and I began
Is that the
with
word you've repeated?
No, it's not. It was a very similar word. It does begin with a G.
I think we're going to be showing that word later. So.
Oh, right. In what way?
In what way? I'm going to be uncrossing my legs. I have tried crossing and uncrossing my legs, but unfortunately I have fat lady pants, so I had a hysterectomy unwittingly. Ian, have you ever seen Basic Instinct?
I'm glad we got here so quickly. The porn MP, there was one man who... I'm assuming it's a man. There was one man who 2 women saw, and they both went to report it.
But I noticed that he was watching porn both in the House of Commons in the Chamber and at a Select Committee hearing. And you think, have you got nothing else to do?
Lots of people have inadvertently done a Sharon Stone in the Commons, mainly when Keir Starmer's done a speech and bored the pants off them. According... Thanks, madam.
It's Angela Rayner.
Who are they wheeling out on Jubilee weekend?
So there's open-top buses for every decade that the Queen has been reigning over, and they are to be filled with national treasures, so nobody wants to be in the 1980s bus.
I'm going to be in a national disgrace dust cart at the moment. Anyone want to join me?
There's also pensioners going to be on mobility scooters dressed as flamingos.
Yes.
What an odd little island we are.
He recently declared that Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated.
Really?
So let's have a look at some of this vital discussion. Just catching up on Hignfy, and I'm pretty sure Ian Hislop's tie has monkeys on it.
That's not a tweet from now, Ian.
So... What I don't understand is why he's so rich.
Well, he set up PayPal.
Oh, right.
I suspect he's probably quite good at money.
I'm not entirely sure what PayPal is.
It's a kind of postal order, Ian.
How would anyone describe Elon Musk?
I think it's fascinating, don't you, Ian?
I thought he was some sort of scented candle for years.
Rachel Johnson sent a tweet asking David Cameron, why are you such an egg-faced I think we should make it clear that Rachel Johnson's account had been hacked. By me. Do you want to see what one woman was served at a Toby Carvery recently?
Oh.
Yes.
Undoubtedly.
It's a foot-long pig-in-blanket hot dog. Very unattractive, isn't it?
I have never been more assured that I'm a lesbian.
Don't you like bread?
The most famous incident connected with a pub was probably when what?
Ian bought a round. They're clapping.
The idea I'd go in a pub with you.
Exactly.
Woman what for 20 minutes after trying to what?
Woman fainted for 20 minutes after trying to believe that Ian bought a round at a pub.
The UK's first what to be trialled in Scotland. Shall I give you a clue? Oh, yeah, why not? It's the last one. It's a vehicle of some sort.
A driverless car.
Driverless train.
In between a car and a train. Goes on the road.
Lorry.
Tram.
Oh, it's a fucking bus, for God's Sorry.
I was expecting the word fucking to appear in there. UK's first fucking bus to be trialled in Scotland.
Anyway...
Is this a request stop? It is now. Hey. You want to go up the dual carriageway? Yeah.
That's the Prime Minister voting. The dog voted Lib Dem.
I didn't know you could take your dog in with you. Is that
It's a
common?
thing. As well as looking up tractors, you can actually Google dogs in polling offices. That's not a euphemism.
No, and whatever you do, don't Google bitch on a pole.
How was the Prime Minister tripped up by 77-year-old Elsie?
Because an elderly pensioner said, I'm so cold, I go out on the bus to keep warm. And he said, ha-ha, but you can only do that because I let you.
When Environment Minister George Eustace was later asked about Elsie's
You've mispronounced his name.
I know.
Useless.
Yes. When he was later asked about Elsie's plight, he mistakenly called her Elsa. But of course, Elsa is in Frozen, whereas Elsie just is frozen.
Well, for heaven's sake, just let it go.
You ever interviewed Nadine Dorries?
No, I haven't, actually, no.
Would you say she was the thickest person you've never interviewed?
No, not I would studiedly not say that.
Would you really?
Thank you very much. Nor would I say it before you start on anyone else that I either have or have not interviewed in the course of what was, until this moment, a reasonable career.
Yes. I can sense the nervousness from here.
Well, or maybe the question is, what is the correct way to pronounce Jeremy Hunt's name?
Yes.
Here's Justin on the Today programme.
The paper says the Health Secretary, Jeremy Hunt, is understood to favour a cap on social care, which will limit how much people need to pay for.
I'm baffled as to why you were worried about the Nadine Dorries.
Another council meeting being held on Zoom has become heated. This time in Australia.
Councillor Bradley. Councillor Bradley, OK, I'm just going to stop you now, Councillor Bradley. Councillor Bradley, you're being ridiculous. Now, if you need me to go to the standing orders, Councillor Bradley, you just turn off your microphone. You're acting like a child, and we don't think
I'm acting like a bloody cross
Councillor Bradley, I'd like you to turn off your microphone, please, because you're out of order.
I'm really cross
and
with
I'm
you,
trying to find
man.
you section in the standing orders where 13.6, it's serious disorder. And you're just basically not talk on this item now, and please just turn off your microphone, Councillor Bradley.
No, I won't.
This is the story about Angela Rayner and Keir Starmer possibly breaking lockdown rules?
Yeah. According to The Sun, Keir Starmer quaffed a San
Is that
Miguel...
the true quote? He quaffed.
Yeah.
Yeah. A San Miguel lager. He quaffed it, Maisie. And ate a curry. He ate his way through that thing.
I think that's the most MP. You know, like when you're in the pub with your mates, and
Yeah.
you're down it. Definitely in the Commons, it's just quaff it, quaff it, quaff it.
Yeah. It's actually Weymouth.
What happened in Weymouth? Well,
It's the news that a footpath in Dorset has been painted green.
Bastards!
Yes. Look, I said in the meeting earlier, this news needs to go up top.
I'm sorry, this is the worst news story we've ever had.
Do you know what else they've been up to down there?
Well, I don't know what, a dog farted? I don't know, I mean...
I'll tell you what's going down. They've realigned the curbs, they've resurfaced the road, and they've installed new drainage channels. It's a heck of a story.
I'm sorry, I'm going home. I don't want to know.
This is the news that two women in Shropshire haven't found part of a meteorite. It's big news. What were you not meant to do to another man's tie in the 1800s?
Oh, you'll know this.
Why?
Oh, I didn't mean it like that.
There's no other way of meaning
no,
it.
I'm sorry, Paul. I I meant you really like...
I look like somebody who'd know about tyres in the 1800s. OK, let's see if I do know this. You're not allowed to twiddle somebody else's tyre. You're not allowed to set fire to it. You're not allowed...
You were right with twiddle.
See?
You're not allowed to cut. Couple in Sunderland leave what at interval after expecting to what? The answer is the Share Show and see Real Share.
In Sunderland, the Real Share Show.
Should we answer the rest of the questions in the voice of Johnny Vegas?
That's Johnny Vegas for the rest of the round. We'll do it like...
Is it the Real Share Show?
That's right.
In Sunderland?
That'll cut in beautifully with what we've shot already, boys.
All you've got to do is give the answers Ian Mimes and we can dub him.
It'll be seamless.
Yes, what's the next? Apparently they're loving this upstairs.
The top one is Caressa Dick. The former Sam Allardyce, Vince Cable. I think I'll go for Caressa Dick.
OK, do you want to just say that one more time?
Caressa Dick.
OK, Caressa Dick.
Yeah.
If you can get below this red line with Caressa Dick.
To extract affection from a crab, you must first...
Buy dinner.
Caress a dick.
I love the idea of extracting affection.
Oh.
The answer, of course, is DNA and shave its legs. The UK-wide Genome Project is helping to identify species under threat of extinction, including sea snails, water spiders, and Conservative councillors. Okay. We need a replacement for Maisie, who's just had a full breakdown.
That's Prince Charles standing in, and then Prince Charles, obviously, the only person sitting down without a crown.
I noticed he was holding a pint of beer in that last game. He was holding a pint of beer last week. Do you think he's been carrying this pint of beer for 7 years?
Asking someone to tell him what it is.
Yeah. I've been carrying around this pint of beer for 4 years.
We had to recognise that the Queen's still there, so they had a crown on a chair. Even I was thinking, we're watching a hat on a seat. I quite like flummery, but I just thought this is quite silly. And then someone said it's a bit like the tub of lard on this show.
Do you know how the older somebody gets, the more they shrink? Do you think the Queen was actually under the crown?
Yeah.
Well, what other privileges did the Crown have?
It had its own car.
It had its own car. Well, what else arrived in the car?
Is this the two Maces?
Yes.
Is that in case Prince Andrew turns up and tries to touch any women, they use the ceremonial mace?
The Mail did make another interesting observation. Angela Rayner there. 11:30, she's wearing a trouser suit for the Queen's speech, and at 2:30, she's in a short skirt on the bench opposite Boris Johnson.
I wouldn't call that short.
It's above the knee, Steph.
Yeah, but I'm from Middlesbrough, but that's not short, love.
On a good night, you can see all the way to the town hall, can't you?
That's modest, that.
The thing is I think as the British people, we don't know what we want, do we? We take the mickey out of Boris for being like a cartoon character of an idiot, and then we moan because the other fella's just too normal and boring. I think maybe they should just, have sex and see what comes out.
I think that's the most unpleasant thing I've ever heard on this. By quite a long way.
A boring man you can't trust.
Northern Ireland situation is complex, scary, and makes people feel uncomfortable. So instead, would you like to see a funny clip of a runaway wheelchair?
Yes. The EU might be looking at this and thinking, what else can they come up with to solve the protocol issue?
So this is Wayne Rooney,
Yeah.
obviously, top England goal scorer back in the day. His wife, Colleen Rooney.
Yeah.
And then this is Rebecca Vardy, married to Jamie Vardy.
Have you been following this?
I've wasted the last 3 days of my life following this. So this is Wagatha Christie.
Who is there to support Colleen?
My husband, Wayne Rooney.
in.
Who was sat the whole way through, just not looking at anyone, just staring into space, which is fascinating in itself. And now everyone realised he sleeps with his eyes open.
Maybe he's confused by the fact that this is the first time he's been in court without being the accused.
Here they are.
Yep.
And here they are as drawn by the court.
I'm guessing they're not very good representations.
No. I would say, actually, Wayne's is quite accurate.
Just looks like a potato.
There's a potato. Yeah, no net. Here's the BBC 6 o'clock news on Tuesday.
Colleen Rooney arrived in court wearing a surgical boot. Shades of her husband Wayne Rooney's metatarsal injury before the 2006 World Cup.
I must have been in court 13 about 10 times fighting libel actions, and at no point did anyone say, he's arriving wearing a grey suit.
That's cheddar. That's cheddar.
It's an app on the phone and you take photographs of it and it tells you what cheese you're looking at. I think it might be for people who've lost the packet.
Why would you need that, though? Because when you buy it, you don't buy it not knowing what it is, do you?
I think it's for just cheese that you find.
What does the chef cook?
Maybe he doesn't cook anything. That's the point. He just.
Because he's a Muppet.
Yeah.
Is that why he's the odd one out?
Yeah, because he's not a real person.
Yeah.
I've now decided I think it's Delia Smith because all the others make simple food and she's made a book to help people make simple food.
Oh, that's a great answer. Well done. OK, next one.
Were you looking at my cards through the screen?
No.
OK.
What kind of accusation is that? You cheeky bitch.
Pembrokeshire locals celebrate World Naked Gardening Day by getting naked at garden centre.
Oh.
Well, for you, Chris, this is a naked man sitting on a bag of compost while a dog watches on.
I'd have to say that's the most embarrassed-looking dog I've ever seen in my life.
This is a naked man with a duck covering his genitals.
A stuffed duck?
Yeah, we'll just make it clear that the duck is not covering its own genitals.
And he's not stuffing the duck.
Yeah.
After rubbishing the Rebecca Vardy camp's claim that a mobile phone containing vital evidence was accidentally dropped into the sea, one lawyer in the Wagatha Christie case enjoys a relaxing day off. Let's kick off with the good news for Boris Johnson. What is that, then?
He hasn't been fined again. I think that is the limit of the good news. I think for the sake of balance, we should say that the Labour Party have got no fines and the Tory Party have got 126. That's just balance so far.
Well, I mean, he's been very honest, hasn't he?
Who's the Prime Minister, for God's sake?
No, sometimes the information's at the end of the sentence.
Oh.
As I say at a lot of family meals, please wait till Daddy's finished speaking. Inflation, then. Inflation is at 9%, the highest it has been since 1982. Did everyone else have a good 1982? Your 1982, Paul?
I was living in a bedsit, measured 13 feet by 11.
You were huge in those days.
I was, wasn't I? It's amazing I could get through the front door.
What are you, James, 1982?
1982, I was also living in a bedsit.
Yeah, I thought I recognised you. You're the bloke who kept stealing my milk.
Ian never lived in a bedsit.
He's owned a few.
Well, if you mean a bed with a sitting room.
1982, British Leyland pulled the plug on an unusually named forklift truck company in the West Midlands. What was it called?
I don't know.
Is there a West Midlands translation that I could help with?
It's a very West Midlands name. Well, I mean, it must happen in the West Midlands. It's the Coventry Climax.
It doesn't happen.
You can start off having sex in Coventry, but you have to move to Birmingham to...
Down the A45.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
The Governor of the Bank of England, Andrew Bailey, he said that he was helpless in the face of global shocks, which is reassuring to us all. How did he try and calm things down after being helpless?
He said the situation is apocalyptic. And then we all felt reassured.
I mean, would this be a good moment for you to say something reassuring to the nation?
I'm trying really hard. Oh, the Eurovision was fun.
Yeah. What a hoot.
The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq.
Do you think he was coached to say, look, don't say Iraq? Because somebody could say, but don't say it.
Yeah.
Don't say Iraq.
Yeah, I won't say that.
I won't say Iraq. Iraq.
He will have come home that night when he was going, oh, I did the silliest thing at work. Really. Why has a bench in Aberystwyth caused a commotion? The county council there have had to remove a memorial plaque that recently made the news. The plaque on the bench said, in loving memory of Hugh Davis used to sit here and shout fuck off at the sea.
Why would they remove that? I mean...
Perhaps the seagulls complained.
Which means at the end of this round, Ian and James have 3, whereas Jess and Paul have 7.
Oh.
How come we haven't got anything?
Answer some of the questions correctly.
From a politician.
I've never been sued for libel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never said anything interesting.
Paul and James, shall I get us some popcorn? Now, how has Wiltshire Council been inefficient? They were widely mocked for painting this wonky line in a village footpath.
Oh. That's not good.
Does this one go to the pub?
Yeah. Wiltshire Council, they sprang into action and rectified the problem by removing the white line.
Oh.
Jeremy Clarkson spent £40,000 on farm equipment manufactured by Lamborghini. Still not the only person in the public eye recently to be embarrassed by splashing out on a tractor.
That got applause.
Let's hope it was applause.
Is he taking urine samples?
I think you'll find he's been taking the piss for quite some time.
The report and the reaction to it was just a huge V sign to the general public. And they keep saying, well, no one's interested in this. And then they do a spot poll and they find that 60% of the country think the Prime Minister should resign. But then that means you're no one.
Spot check for who from our audience there.
I mean, he came out smirking. I found the whole thing incredibly embarrassing. I had to remind myself that he is the Prime Minister. And if you're watching a repeat and something good's happened, thank God for that. He kept saying it was his duty to turn up to people's leaving dues on the grounds that this was good for morale, even if it was against the regulations. Whereas the rest of us who were trying to go to, well, funerals in my case, but leaving dues in the metaphysical sense, we weren't allowed to go. Everyone says, oh, it's all about the booze and it's all about the parties, how Puritan. Forget about it. It's just the fact that they made the rules and we stuck by them and he didn't. I mean, that is still the point.
Is cheese and wine all right?
No.
It was a business meeting.
I'm joking.
This is recorded. His fictional party was a business meeting.
I can understand how infuriating it must be to think that the people who have been setting the rules have not been following the rules, Mr. Speaker. because I was also furious to see that clip.
And maybe he is furious. Maybe that's him picking up someone else's glass of wine going, what is this? What do you call this? She said that a recent poll found that 96% of the British population are in favour of Channel 4 being privatised. It turns out she's correct with the number, but in the opposite way. It's actually 96% of the population are against the privatisation of Channel 4. It's an easy mistake to make.
She actually managed to dig herself into an even deeper hole. Let's say what happened.
53% of the public were not aware that Channel 4 was state-owned, and they thought it was already owned by a private company.
Yes, that's quite a vulnerable issue, I think, for you, since my colleague here had to explain that to you at the last session.
Leader of SOGAT, the printers union, accused of selling the printers out to Rupert Murdoch, a Labour peer and possibly a friend of yours?
Oh, I knew her when she was on the Labour benches, but she's now died. She's not there anymore.
You've not kept in touch?
I haven't been to a medium recently.
Let's have a look at Ian sat next to Norman Willis.
Am I on the right?
As part of the Jubilee celebrations, some towns are becoming cities.
Absolutely. It's the news that 8 towns have been upgraded to cities as part of the Jubilee celebrations. The new cities are...
Bangor.
Bangor in Northern Ireland. That's a place, not an instruction.
Oh,
Bangor getting city status today. What's your thoughts?
I think it's disgraceful that we got it, because there's nothing in Bangor, only charity shops.
Can you name a place which has applied 4 times to become a city and been snubbed every time?
Swindon.
Reading.
Oh, Reading.
Reading, it is. Reading has been rejected 4 times, and according to one commentator, is forever condemned to be just a really big town.
When I took over at Private Eye, we had a court case in which my predecessor was in the dock, and the barrister said, "Is anything in Private Eye untrue?" And my predecessor said, "Yes, the apologies."
And Everton Football Club.
OK, well, the thing that's happened to Everton in the last week or so was that they've managed to avoid relegation from the Premiership, so that must be why they're there.
Because, Ian, I know you're a big fan of football, so what do you know about Everton Football
I just wanted to say how sorry I was that Everton have gone down.
They haven't.
Oh.
They haven't.
Have they gone up?
No, they've avoided relegation, you great bozo. I just said that.
What left panicked after spotting a Welcome to Luton sign? Air passengers at Gatwick Airport is bang on. A prankster sparked panic amongst air passengers destined for Gatwick, 60 miles from Luton, by putting the following sign in a field near the airport. Man uses recycling bin to what? To catch an alligator.
Oh.
There we go. This is from Materials Recycling World. Must have been over the moon to finally have an interesting recycling story. After a man in Florida used a recycling bin to catch an alligator. Here it is.
But that's not the end of the story when the recycling man comes round on Monday.
Special thanks, of course, to the guy filming it, offering what I believe we call moral telephonic support. Catching an alligator.